As we are finishing up a month that has been, the monthly theme has been on the wings of love, talking about all of these different ways we engage with love, that love is divine, love is internal, love is an action, love is a choice. And today's message is called Love's Descent. Love's Descent. And an important thing to keep in mind for that title to make sense is that love is capitalized, which means we're using it as a synonym for whatever word you prefer for the divine. Spirit, the universe, God. I like sweet spirit. Ralph uses divine spirit. Whatever your favorite word is. Love's descent into us. Because the world needs healing. I don't know if you've turned on a TV or a computer in the last week, month, year, decade, century. But just this week in particular, there was a shooting at a Minneapolis school that killed 2 children and injured 17 more. War is actively raging between Russia and Ukraine, between Israel and Gaza. There are active military conflicts in Ethiopia, Syria, Pakistan, Myanmar. I know I'm not covering everything. People are being detained and held without guaranteed constitutional due process. It can feel so overwhelming. It can feel so heavy. It has people doing things like watching the pizza meter. Do you guys know about the pizza meter? For like decades, people have been paying attention to how many pizzas are ordered by the Pentagon as a meter to detect whether they think major conflicts are going to arise. And the pizza meter is high, friends. And I hear you say, I didn't pray for this. This was not in my consciousness. I was not walking around hoping for another school shooting. Science of mind tells me that what I put out into the world gets reflected back to me. I didn't pray for a car wreck. I didn't pray for a scary diagnosis. I didn't pray for the end of a relationship. I didn't call that in. And it feels like you're victim blaming. Ever thought that? Right? For sure, for sure. And it's a legitimate thing. And, my friends, let's look at what Ernest Holmes said about it. We'll give him a chance to clarify for us. He said, we are all immersed in and experiencing the collective subjective. So our subjective is what's in our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, right? But the collective subjective. And it's operating through each one of us to a greater or lesser degree. Any negativity of thought we're aware of arising from such sources may be changed by consciously identifying with and maintaining only good and positive ideas. I like to think of it as soup. We're all in the soup. Students that have had me as a teacher, big smiles, everybody. They've heard about the soup. The collective subjective is like a soup, because just like you have thoughts, ideas, hidden beliefs that you don't even know, rules you made up when you were 2 because that kid took your rock and he didn't get in trouble, and so now beware rock stealing kids. All of those things, so does everybody else. And there are billions of us on this planet. Billions of us. And everybody's great ideas, beautiful feelings, they're in the soup. And the thing that their mom said to them in 3rd grade that made them not want to wear a cropped shirt for the next 15 years of their life, that's in the soup. And the belief in hereditary disease is in the soup. And Beth's bad car driver that was not me. And my evidence is I drive like a mile a day because I live really close. All the reasons they're doing that are in the soup. It's all in there together. And here we are swimming in it. Right? So sometimes something happens and you're like, oh, okay, this is about me. This is about me. This is about that thing, about my dad from 7th grade. Okay, I got to work on it. Had those moments? Like, oh, I am yelling at you when I'm really yelling at my first husband. Yep. And sometimes you bump into somebody else's celery. You know, those things that just kind of feel random? Like getting hit on the freeway, or a random diagnosis, or it feels like this is just happening at me. It's not mine. But Ernest doesn't say, we're in the soup, we're in the collective subjective, and so too bad, you're just screwed. He never said that in any of the books. I think I've read them about all at this point, and he never said, you are just screwed. Feels like it, though, doesn't it? Feels like it. So here's the thing. Yes, we are in the soup. We're all in the soup. And there's no getting out of the soup because the soup is everywhere and everything. But we can impact the soup. We can put our conscious thoughts into the soup and start influencing. We can add that slice of carrot if we choose to do so. We can impact the collective subjective, meaning we can impact that which is bumping into us all the time. Sound like a plan? Those who just want to doggy paddle for dear life and not, you can like take a break for like the next 10 minutes. Everybody else, we're in it. So how does it work? How does it work to be able to impact the soup? The soup is diffuse, right? It's all spread out. And most of the time you're wandering around doing your thing and it's completely fine. You might bump into somebody's lovey vibe. Oh, that's nice. Get complimented on your outfit. That's lovely. It's all kind of spread out. And you don't really know where it's coming from. You can't pin down your random floating piece of bay leaf to a specific person. But intentionally implanted ingredients are precise and specific, and they are stronger flavored. Intentional, conscious thoughts have more power than the soup that is diffuse. Does that make sense? So we do have things we can do about it. We can impact how we respond when we bump into somebody else's celery. We can either go, oh, the celery's taking me out again. Or we can use our tools. Now, I hate to give every talk on the same subject. I don't hate to. I kind of enjoy it. But sometimes there are sharks and sometimes there's soup. But it's always about daily, substantial, spiritual practice. And here's a fun game. I don't care what it looks like. I mean, I have opinions on what a really nicely well-rounded one would look like. But anything done consciously, spiritually, consistently will change your little area of the soup. It just does. We have, well, let's look at the teaching symbol to help guide us through it. So this is the way you guys are probably used to hearing us talk about the teaching symbol, right? I mean, we just had this beautiful new one made, so let's talk about it. We have at the top, we have the pure idea, the spiritual ideal, right? I want to be abundant so that I can share my wealth with all of these wonderful organizations. Doesn't that sound lovely? I'm a big yes for that idea. And then it goes through our personal soup ladle full of our beliefs, our ideas, our thoughts. The things we know and the things we don't know that we know are all in that middle section. And at the bottom, we have everything that comes manifest, every person, every place, everything, every relationship, all of that. And the V is us moving from this idea through our subjective in the middle section, and then we see what we get. And when what we get doesn't match the ideal, guess what? Something's in our soup. And we're all walking around with a lot of awesome stuff in the soup. I highly compliment your spice choices. Beautiful. And we all have whatever your least favorite soup ingredient is. Mine is eggplant. We all have a couple of eggplant pieces hanging out in our soup too. Sometimes we know about it, sometimes we don't. But there's another part of this symbol that I think really matters in this talk. So let's see the next teaching symbol slide. The V means something. It isn't only coming down into manifest form. It comes down and it goes back up. And the coming down is God's Spirit, love, if you will, involving itself in human affairs, in the manifest world. How does that love descend into the world? Through us. You've heard this, we are the hands, we are the feet, we are the voice of Spirit on earth. That's Karen Drucker. It brings that love, that power, that beauty, that intention into us so that then we can take all that good that we have absorbed and move in the direction of being more divine, more loving, more powerful, better chefs, if you will. And how do we do it? We go back to that daily substantial spiritual practice, spiritual mind treatment, any kind of prayer, frankly, that claims your power and your love and peace, affirmations, meditation, spiritual music that raises your vibration, and any work you do to clean out your soup, whether it's independent, with a prayer partner, with a practitioner, with a minister, with your journal, just you screaming into your pillow. Every single bit of it is taking out the ingredients that aren't working in your soup. So sometimes an ingredient isn't working on our soup, but we used to love it. It's part of who we are. We're attached. This can be a piece of like the way we moved beyond a victiming situation, but we kind of get so attached to that survivor label that it keeps us attached to the previous victim situation. It can be a relationship that once was really healthy and is not any longer, and it starts to be like a rotten potato in our soup. It's okay to let things go. If you may have just adored the potato in your soup. It might have been your favorite thing. Half of your energy might be trying to get your potato back, but my loves, nothing brings back a potato once it's turned. To start sprouting and has that weird mushy brown spot, it's okay to let it go. So many of us are meeting with our prayer partners or working in our journals or meeting with ministers to try to change the way someone else thinks or to try to change the way someone else behaves because they were wrong and they don't get it and it hurts us that they don't get it. If you're with someone who hurts you, or there's a situation that continually tastes like whatever your version is of a bad potato in your soup, maybe it's time to take the potato out of the soup. When we do that, when we clean out the things that are not working, be they jobs, relationships, points of view, rules for life, when we start straining those out, not only does our soup become nicer, but guess what? There's more room in your bowl to intentionally put in ingredients that work for you. Empowerment, creativity, trying a new thing, being brave enough to step up to bat on that thing you've been dreaming of for years and always thought, it's not time, I don't know how I'll pay for it, what if it doesn't work, what if I don't fit in? Invest in the carrot. I really like carrots. This is coming very clear in this talk. When we have room in our soup, we can put intentionality into place. And not only does that make our experience better, it makes everyone's experience better. Because guess what? Somebody else out there just walked into your particularly delightful piece of Italian sausage, and it made their whole day better. And they'll never know it was you. But every shiny penny you pick up, every free cookie you get, every delightful friend that drops something off on your desk that they just thought of you, you're bumping into their ingredients in the soup. The soup is not a bad thing. We just have to be conscious chefs. No more opening the can and just taking what's there. We're all going to become much better chefs. Henry's already a really good chef. He's ahead of me on this. So, for conclusion, I just really want to touch in on something that can happen. We get all revved up. We're going to work on our soup, right? And then I hear, okay, so to take care of my soup, I'm not going to watch any news or read anything online anymore. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to know about the school shooting. I don't want to know what's going on in Myanmar. I don't want to know why I can't buy good rubies. And since we've been leading into Thich Nhat Hanh a lot this month, he talks about how awareness of suffering does not cause suffering. Awareness of suffering does not create suffering. We can have a little bit of a tendency to think, well, if everything I put my attention on increases, I can't know about these things or I'm making it worse. And it's all in the perspective you take in thinking about it. The Buddha was a pampered prince, perfectly happy to stay a pampered prince living in his palace his whole darn life until he left the palace walls and saw what? Human suffering. And he needed to understand it. And that literally changed the world. Gandhi didn't see people being discriminated against and go, well, nothing I can do about it. Jesus saw the masses and he didn't say, it's not my job to feed everybody. He fed the masses. Malala Yousafzai, the education activist, could have hidden under her burqa. She could have kept her head down, but she didn't. She had a family that made sure she got educated, even if it was at home, but she knew that that wasn't true for everyone. So she stood up, and she made herself a target. But even after she'd been shot in the face, she kept standing up. She kept standing up because awareness of suffering is how we change the soup. It's one of many, many ways we change the soup. It's not easy, but it's worth it. We have a quote from Reverend Darrell Jones, a reverend in this movement, and he said, suffering isn't comfortable, whether it's our own suffering or the suffering of others. But that temporary discomfort of coming to terms with the suffering in and around us opens the door to liberation. It's a necessary part of our individual and collective growth and healing. It's necessary. How do we use our powerful tools to change the energy of the planet if we won't look at what is there? How do we know what to dig up if we won't see it? So, in conclusion, Thich Nhat Hanh gives us 5 ways of being mindful. And I'm going to read them to you. And I want you to pick one. Pick the one that's for you. You'll know when you hear it. Awareness of the suffering caused by the destruction of life. I'm committed to cultivating compassion and learning ways to protect the lives of people, animals, plants, and minerals. Aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression, I'm committed to cultivating loving kindness and learning ways to work for the well-being of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I will practice generously by sharing my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in real need. Aware of the suffering caused by sexual misconduct, I'm committed to cultivating responsibility and learning the ways to protect the safety and integrity of individuals, couples, families, and society. I will do everything in my power to protect children from sexual abuse and to prevent couples and families from being broken by sexual misconduct. Number 4, awareness of the suffering caused by unmindful speech and the inability to listen to others. I'm committed to cultivating loving speech and deep listening in order to bring joy and happiness to others and relieve others of their suffering. Knowing that words can create happiness or suffering, I am determined to speak truthfully with words that inspire self-confidence, joy, and hope. And number 5, aware of the suffering caused by unmindful consumption, I'm committed to cultivating good health, both physical and mental, for myself, my family, and my society, by practicing mindful eating, drinking, and consuming, including consuming ideas. I will ingest only that which preserves or creates peace, well-being, and joy in my body, in my consciousness, and in the collective body and consciousness of family and society. He calls these the 5 mindfulness trainings. And they require us to really look at the suffering of others, and then to take them into an empowered place where we can make our own lives better and allow that to ripple out into the collective subjective. And so my challenge for you, the invitation this week, is to pick one of those 5, and really anchor into it this week. See how different you can make your personal subjective and how it infuses out into the world. Are you with me? And so it is. So let's anchor this in with some prayer. Oh, how good it is to remember that infinite spirit is everywhere, including within me, including within everyone within the sound of my voice through all of space and time. That each beloved everywhere, all of the people are made up of this consciousness that we call the divine. And therefore, each one is imbued with the capacity for good, for peace, for love, for joy, for beauty, for abundance and safety and every good thing. And knowing this truth, I speak my word, affirming that not only everyone within the sound of my voice, but indeed every being everywhere is being met right where they are by this infinite power. That whatever need is present is being met, whatever wound is present is being healed, whatever excitement present is being inspired and guided. That we are all truly held. And I'm so grateful to know it. I'm grateful to know it for myself and for each one of us as we become consciousness chefs of the highest order. And so I release this word into the action of universal law and trust that it is done to beautiful perfection. And we claim it together as we say, and so it is.